Well, these guys fight all the time.
Yeah.
They fight each other all the time.
Okay, so this is Agrippa Athanaric versus Count Oz in the finals of the Caid Crown tournament in this last fall.
So, and then for context, this was a 3-way final, right?
Yes. Agrippa's
the third finalist. Whoever wins 2 fights in a row is going to win crown.
Yes.
So this is the first fight. And I know I'm new in the kingdom, but Athanaric's the one on the left and Ozmund's the one on the right.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, he popped him right in the knee.
Well, that was off the shield. I mean, you heard it.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe. You heard a little pop noise. I don't know.
That was his kneecap.
Careful, he can still banish us.
So, with Athanaric, I mean, with his sword, see how far forward his sword is? Is it just because he's freakishly strong that he can throw from that angle and be okay?
He gets a ton of power with his hands, and then he has little tiny contractions, especially in his core, and that little frame weight transfer there, where he's just coming forward 3 to 6 inches. It's all little tiny motions that all add together.
Yeah, I understand that shot, but like if he was going to throw an offside from where he's stationed, he could still generate power. But I could not do that. I could not generate that power. So maybe he'll throw an offside. The onside, I can see that the mechanics for it. It's set so far forward. I know he's trying to control Oz's sword.
So this is an important exchange because it takes a little while for this to get sorted out, and I spoke to Oz about this later because I misunderstood it from the sidelines. So what I had interpreted from the sidelines at the time is that Oz threw a shot that hit Athanaric in the shoulder,
Right.
and Athanaric hit Oz's shield hard enough that it hit the shield and hit him in the head. And they end up clearing the field at this point as Athanaric's lost an arm and Oz is lost his head, right? And that's how this ends, if I understand correctly, right?
Right, but Athanaric wanted the fight to continue.
So at this point now, if I'm not mistaken, at this point, then Agrippa stepped on the field, they were about to start again, and then Athanaric and Oz talked about it, and Oz said, I didn't think that was your shoulder, I thought that was just inside the joint, and His Highness said, well, I thought it was my shoulder, but if you think that's where it hit me, then that's where it hit me, let's refight as a double kill. Which I didn't quite hear from the sidelines. I thought he was like, I didn't feel the pain there, but now that I feel the pain is inside the joint, but he was like, nope, you're my brother, I get it. Yep. If you think that's where it hit me, that's where it hit me, let's fight again.
See, there's his offside.
Yes.
Look at that. How do you throw that?
He's coming from his chest and he's popping it forward, right?
With power, though.
But see, so he comes forward, and then he's pulling with his bottom 2 fingers there, so it whips out.
Yes.
And he's getting that he's getting a little weight transfer.
If you don't mind making fun of the prince, could you go back for a little bit and then draw a little circle around his butt cheeks? Sir, limited opportunity to make fun of the prince. If you look, watch his weight transfer. He throws his hips back just a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he does.
So I think he gets some of that power by popping, and it's not one. It's not his offside hip or his onside hip. I feel like he's pulling both his hips back.
Yeah, I think he's pushing his sword hip forward. He's throwing that as a jab offside, but you can see that his upper body is definitely moving forward in relation to his hip.
Yeah, and he's rotated. But I mean, like, that lands with power.
Yeah.
I mean, it's off the basket hill, thankfully, for Oz, but, like, not everyone can throw that.
No, I don't know hardly anybody who can throw that shot with as much power as Athanaric does. He has the mutant retard strength.
Can we just call it mutant strength since he's about to be king?
Take the circle off. It looks like we're
very focused on whoever that person in the background is. Would you look at this person on the sidelines? Okay, can we go back there for a second? So I'm really intrigued by what Oz is doing here. So I'm seeing hip pumps as fakes. And I'm not sure if he's throwing those hip pumps because he's ready to throw a shot and he's not getting the response he wants, so he calls off the shot, or if he's throwing the hip pumps just to try to convince Athanaric to move and Athanaric doesn't. You guys have fought Oz more times than I have, certainly. So are those hip pumps fakes, or is he calling off a shot?
He's trying to make sure that he can throw either direction, so he's rotating from one side to the next, getting ready to throw whatever he sees. That's what I think.
Sort of I see it's less a hip fake and more of a rock, so that he can go from either position, and he's waiting to see what happens. But he's got this. This is his feint. Drops it down, and then
he tries to go high.
And the only reason that doesn't land is because Athanaric's already moving. Because otherwise, the targeting's right at where Athanaric's opening was, but Athanaric's already moved.
You know what it reminds me of is, do you guys follow boxing at all?
A bit.
Kind of the Dempsey roll kind of concept. Because he's kind of got this. The Dempsey roll is basically it's a body motion that boxers use to go from a figure eight motion as they're moving, go from one side to the next, and they generate power on each side as they're going. So he's kind of got that kind of rocking motion going. So wherever he decides to throw from, he's already got the power started in that general direction of where he's going to throw it.
That makes sense, yeah.
So one of the things that I like about both of these guys is their footwork. When we talk about small footwork, we're talking 3 to 6 inches, little shuffle steps. Doesn't have to be big, and they're not pushing themselves way off balance to throw, right? So.
Oz tries to get that wrap, and he's falling back at the same time. See, he throws a wrap right here. He's going to throw a wrap, but he's falling back.
Yes. He's not in the best position there.
His body's behind his feet.
Right.
Yeah.
But if his body was over his feet, that shot from Athanaric would have landed.
Yeah. And his shield is out of place, too, which is interesting because you don't often see Oz's shield out of place. I think that just because Athanaric throws hard and his shield is moving around.
And if we pause here, I think this is as close as it gets. Right? So at this point, Athanaric has now taken that left shoulder, and I would love to watch this 100 times. Maybe we'll watch it 5 times. Athanaric has lost his shield arm.
How in the world?
I mean, I totally get that. And honestly, that would be my impulse. But I think it's that pump. If you look at what Athanaric's doing, I think he's throwing a pump fake thrust to the leg, which gets Oz's shield moving that way. And then Oz thinks, I've got him. Look at this big wide open target. And Athanaric's just thinking, get me the double. But I feel like Oz knows his shield's out of position there. Like, I feel like this is probably a moment where Athanaric got exactly what he wanted. So that thrust was a feint, right? There was nothing there, but it froze the shield up for a second instinctively. And then it's a very simple offside recovery, like a high moulinet snapshot.
And he's moving back away from from Oz's sword to make sure that he can maybe void whatever Oz throws.
Yeah, because he's not going to void it, right? He knows it's a double. He's taking it in the sternum, period. But Oz's basket, right? Like, so if Oz threw that tighter, that onside shot tighter, to guard himself with his basket, Athanaric's shot still would have landed. Athanaric's shot could have only been blocked, I think, by Oz's shield. So he manages the double down an arm. So this is a second double kill.
Yep. This is the other thing, is that Athanaric's shoulder, his shield shoulder, was actually injured. So every time he steps back and he's holding everything close, is him conserving that shoulder. And you notice that he only comes forward into that guard when he's actually in range to attack.
Interesting. I didn't know his shoulder was hurt. Now it looks like Athanaric's leg is wide open. But that's probably a bait.
See, there's that wicked little snap wrap.
Pop. Yeah, just doesn't even really look like a threat. That one, obviously, Oz picks up on.
So this is just a straight vertical shot.
Yeah.
But you see again here, right? His arm is extended, and then he's getting his
Look at
hand
that
stopped,
whip.
and it
Yeah.
whips.
That's a 30th of a second right there. That 30 degrees of motion isn't a 30th of a second.
He uses that offside, though, to get that step in so that he can get deep on that wrap. So
Yeah.
he'll throw. He wants to have Oz thinking about that throw.
And if
so
Oz
that he
doesn't
can
step back here, he's going to take it in a wrap.
Because he steps deep right there.
So he's covering himself on the approach.
It's nice.
So we've got
Big jumping wrap, and then
Yeah.
that leg shot
Yeah.
doesn't land right.
well, no, you can see that it right there. His basket hilt hits the shield,
Yeah, and you can see the shield bend.
bend
When
and
you-
turn.
When you bend someone's shield with your basket hilt, you're swinging hard. And it's a center grip, too.
And then on top of it, you can see that this shot doesn't land perpendicular to its target, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It
Yeah, just-
glances.
yeah.
And just keeps going.
And you can sort of see the same with Oz's shot.
Yeah.
Because they're both doing this wicked, I don't expect a 280-pound man to jump in the air on one foot and wrap my leg. It's got a kind of beauty, doesn't it?
That.
So here's what I think happens here. At a high level, I think what happens is Oz says, the offside has been thrown, I have 0.3 seconds where I'm safe. There's the offside, I'm safe for a second.
Yeah.
Because no one could throw a blow after that, right? And then it comes,
And then he
right?
brings it, yeah.
I think that, mentally, I think that's what happens. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Well, this is the second time Oz is retreating and bringing down his shield and got pegged in the head.
Yeah.
And because that's what happened on the first double kill, is that Oz sets this up for that shot right there. See, that's basically a similar shot to what he got before.
But now he's dropping his shield.
But now he drops his shield as he's backing out, and that allows him to get pegged. He was a little bit closer this time.
Yeah.
The other thing is that we talked about edge blocking before. This
Yeah,
shot he
that's
does
not
not
edge.
catch
Yeah,
it,
that
and
shield
look at
moves.
how much the shield moves, and now he's trying to pull it down, and
Try to get control of it.
right, and so it creates that opening for him for the shot to land.
And the weird thing is, Athanaric, it feels like when he moves his...
And here is Agrippa.
Okay, so if we pause here, so to win Crown, it's 2 fights in a row and they go round robin until someone has 2 wins.
Yeah.
Right, so before we move on to this fight with Agrippa, the other thing that I thought was sort of astonishing, and maybe I'm putting too much of myself on that fight, but I've noticed a lot of the fights against the very top tier fighters, a lot of the fights I'm losing is because there's a part of my brain that says, I am safe for a short period of time. Or, there's no threat to this quadrant because I don't think they can throw a killing blow to that quadrant right now. So I simplify what's going on in my brain, all the things I need to process. Like, oh, they can't hit me there right now, so I won't worry about it. And really good fighters will.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling, and maybe it's just me projecting, but I have a feeling that's what happened with that killing blow. I have a feeling, like he said, there was those 2 offsides,
Yeah.
he's standing on one leg, yes, my shield's been bobbled, but I don't think he can throw a killing blow right there right now, so I can afford to bring my shield down and recover, and that just wasn't the case because Athanaric can. And I catch myself doing the same thing against high-level fighters, like, okay, I don't have to worry about my left side or my right side or my leg or my head right now for a second, a quarter of a second, because there's no way a human could threaten me there now. Wait, they just did. Wow, that guy's really good. And I often catch myself thinking, I really should have just kept blocking everything. So I feel like that's what happened there. What do you think?
Oh, I think that's. I mean, I don't want to project onto what the fighters are thinking.
That's
but
the
I mean,
fun part.
Oh no, and I mean, I think that there is that. I think that the opening really happened because his shield got knocked out of position.
He was trying to pull.
He was trying to get it back under control, and so he because of how it got turned.
And he wants to retreat as well. You think that when you're retreating that you can take some of the blow. If he does throw a blow, you're going to be able to take some of it away.
So right now he can't see anything.
Yeah.
Right? No, right there. Okay, he can now see
some of the legs.
His leg. He can see up to his nipple, but he can't see that sword at all. And now the shield is coming back down. He still can't see anything. He can't see anything there. Now he can see, but the shield is moving down. And now he can't stop it.
Do you think he's blocking the leg? Is that why the shield's coming down?
I think that the reaction that happens is when his shield gets out of position. He's looking at my shield is not moving where I want it to go, right? Where's open? Place I would be worried about getting hit right there is getting by Athanaric is in the ribs. With my shield that high and getting turned over.
So I'd be worried about that too. And listen, both these guys are better fighters than I am. But to me, my impulse is you play sticky hand at that point, right? So I'm not sure if it's a typical defense, but my impulse, I think, would be to get the weight off that foot so that I can get that side of my body like rotated and out of the way. And then I play sticky hand, and what I want to do is I want to leave the shield right up here, wherever the sword is, and hold it as far away from my body as I can, and just smother what the basket hilt is doing as I run the hell away. Right, and it would look, my defense there, instead of pulling it down and hoping I don't get a shot to the head, would be attach it to the sword, stick my arm out at full reach to get my stomach, my head, and everything as far away as I can. And because it's a center grip instead of a basket hilt, it's bobbling around, so I got way less strength. But I can put it further away from my elbow because it's not attached to my forearm, and just scoot myself as far away from that shield as I could. Now, Athanaric might have thrown that onside shot and blocked that, and then because my shield's way far away from my body, would have killed me with something else immediately after. But like my impulse is get the hell out, but leave my shield where it is. That's my thought. What do you guys think?
Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say actually is a little off to what you guys are already talking about. So
I'm thinking, where is Oz's sword? Why couldn't, if his lizard brain is saying, hey, let's put the shield down because it's out of position like that, why isn't his sword coming back up for a face block at the same time if he's going to get out of dodge? See his feet? His feet are retreating.
Yeah.
See his feet? He's trying to get out of dodge like you were saying. But his sword, where's his sword? His sword is still down after that round.
Starting to reach across the body with the basket hilt low and the tip high. But it's not
back,
over.
It's back in position there by this point, right? But now he's dropping, but he's looking to throw again. Rather than defend with it,
and that's why I think he feels safe for that quarter of a second. It's easy for us a month later in slow motion to say like, oh, we watched this 30 times at 30 frames a second, but like the impression I get is because I've done it 100 times, I'm safe now, but I'm not. Yeah, but thank you for letting me, belabor that. So this is the second fight. If Athanaric wins this, he's going to be king. If Agrippa wins this, he's got to win another fight, round robin, to become king.
Yeah, he has to beat Oz.
And Agrippa's going to move forward, as you can tell by the green arrow.
So excited to see who wins.
Move move the camera.
What happened?
Edge of the world, edge of the world.
There is that look, pop,
The chop to tie up the sword for a second.
and then that
wrap.
tight
Yeah.
wrap.
Yeah, and the only reason
Oh,
And
that
he-
would have come
he
in on
slips
edge.
right there, I think, doesn't he? Yeah, he slips.
slips
He gets
a
a
little
real
bit.
gnarly slip.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
oh,
it's a little
oh.
man.
It's a,
I think they're both slipping. Honestly.
ooh, yeah.
I wonder if Athanaric sees that he needs to get over, but his foot is planted, his right foot is planted, so he can't get as far to the right as he wants to, and he tries to, and that,
With that
hand
little
says,
hop.
yeah, he can't get there, so he has to cross over, which is something that we never want to do, is cross over our feet, but he wants to get further to the right. He sees something there.
We need more Morris dancing practice. Same opening 3 times now. I think it's because it's tying up that thrust. Because he knows Agrippa's got the thrust. So he's throwing that straight down shot to tie up. Can you zoom out a bit, Helgi? Look at that close. Wow. Okay, so if we go back to before Athanaric starts that close motion. Because I think that opening here is really interesting, right? He's super casual, swords over his shield, just walking, and then he punches forward.
Yeah.
And what he's doing, he's not aiming at Agrippa's head with that offside. Watch. If he goes back, go back again for a minute, I apologize. But as he closes, you look, he's not throwing an offside to Agrippa's head. He's throwing the offside to Agrippa's sword, because he's watching for the thrust. Way over Agrippa's head. But what it's done is thrown Agrippa into a more traditional stance, and then Athanaric is way wound up for that offside, which he cranks and throws. He throws that deep slot offside. Really good close, and just continues the momentum. So he's basically, I mean, to me it looks like a fencer's move. It looks like a flesh with a pater, right? Like, he's jumped in, his body weight is forward. Like, look, if you go back...
As he comes in, he pushes up because he knows that thrust is going. So he's pushing up in the hopes to get that thrust to come up.
He is, right? So he's playing it super casual. He's just waiting for the moment to close range, right? So casual, 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 and then
the thrust coming from down below.
All of a sudden, oops.
Well, that thrust is starting to come forward right at this point.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to take that thrust offline.
So he knows that that's a threat, right? Like, that's Agrippa's best threat. But at this moment, if we go back just a little ways, Athanaric's in balance, in balance, in balance, in balance, in balance, and then all of a sudden...
He's still in balance here.
Oops. But all of a sudden, he's changed posture, right?
Right, he's more centrally, he's slightly ahead, and he goes from doing shuffle steps to pass through.
And if you look, now his center of gravity is leaned even further over the center of his legs, and he's thrown this shot up here to foul any sort of thrust, right? And he's, at this point, he does not let up the assault.
Right.
So now he's decided to close, and he's popped Agrippa's sword, which pops now Agrippa's sword. He has no choice, it looks like, other than to do an onside recovery, right? So now Agrippa, he's got maybe the leg shot, maybe the leg wrap, but Athanaric is closing in, and as Agrippa's shield, what happens is Agrippa's shield starts coming this way, and Athanaric drops the slot right down the middle. As the shield comes, Athanaric has blocked that wrap to the leg that Agrippa's been throwing all day, and instead of the deep offside or the onside shot, right down the slot.
It's an offside.
Well, I guess it's an offside, but to me...
Is it a back blade, or is it...
It's a 4-blade.
No, you can't tell from this angle.
Can't tell.
I think it's a 4-blade, but
Is it?
what I'm saying is it's not, to me, it's not way around this way. Like, it's not reaching around him. It's sort of more in this plane, I guess, is what I think.
What I think is interesting is that when Agrippa is backing out, his shield, he has it, all he's doing is using his tip to kind of keep Athanaric at bay.
Mm-hmm.
His shield is not in a good position to defend.
Yeah.
And when Athanaric decides that he's going to address it and to go in, Agrippa's now doing the whole backpedaling thing because his shield was out of place. Now he has to put it into place. He has to do all these other motions instead of having it in place the whole time. See, it's out of place right here. He's going to have to work harder to get it in place, and it's still floating out.
Yeah. So there are a couple of things that on this pass that are happening, right? So here we've got as he starts coming in, right? Little casual step pass,
And that's not a threat. That's just to tie up Agrippa's sword there.
Right. But even here, you can see that Agrippa is spending a lot more energy on his footwork than Athanaric is, right?
Because he's going around the outside of the circle, and Athanaric is just cutting him off.
Right. He's taking that
cutting the inside
small
of the
line.
circle.
Yeah.
And then here, he's taking his step deep to that offside motion leg, right? Now, Agrippa's shield is out, and it's way, way past his head, right?
Yeah.
So this is a bit of an overblock, right?
Yeah.
But as he comes here, his next step brings him square, right? And so Agrippa goes from defending his offside to defending what looks like the wrap, right?
Yeah.
And instead of...
But it's an offside.
But it ends up being an offside.
Can I ask a question? And this one's going to be tough for us to judge. If you go back a little ways, right before the transition from what looks like a wrap to an onside shot, does Athanaric pop Agrippa's shield? So go back a little ways,
does look
right
like
here.
it.
So Agrippa brings us up. Does Athanaric pop the shield right there to throw the shield to Agrippa's left, opening up the offside further? Is there a shield pop right there?
It looks a little bit like that.
It looks like
If
he's
so, that
thrown,
would
but
be
I'm not.
fucking cool.
I'm not seeing a lot of there being a whole lot of motion. There, it does make an impact there,
But it might be just enough to stop him from pulling it over.
Right, and he's pulling it back there, and then there's shield binding here at this point.
But the other thing I'd like to point out, so Agrippa threw that leg wrap all day, right?
Yeah.
He hit a lot of people with that leg wrap. I think if he wasn't throwing the leg wrap, he could have sword blocked that shot easily. But he decided, I'm going to throw that leg wrap on Athanaric, and if you look at Athanaric's shield,
It's a hard one.
Athanaric's leg was not really open.
Yeah.
So, if Agrippa had been keeping his sword for defense, he would have had his shield to block the onside and the wrap, and he would have had his sword to block the offside and the slot. So because Agrippa's committed to that wrap, and Athanaric's shield's got it's totally covered anyway, this is where the decision to throw the onside leg wrap cost him, I think, the fight. Right here.
Well,
Because if he just dropped his basket and kept his sword vertical, that would have blocked Athanaric's shot.
But already, he's in good position here, but at this point here, now he's off balance. Now you can see that his, is the line...
Body's behind his feet, yeah?
Yeah, behind his feet, and he's actually leaning backwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it becomes...
Even worse.
Yep. And so, when we talk about, that your shoulders get behind your hips, that's going to kill your power. Well, he doesn't really get to exploit any shots during this, except for the leg.
Pretty sure I live with my shoulders behind my hips, and that's why I have no power. The other, we should point out though, this is no normal offside, right? Like Athanaric throws a sky-high offside after a really wicked threat to that outside. Like, look at where his hand is, and look at where the blade lands. Like somewhere around the belly button or something. I don't know, right?
No,
like
it's side of the head.
Was it? I mean,
Yeah, it was the side. It was the side.
but like that is a unexpected angle.
It almost looks like he's about to come down for a slot, and then changes it just as he's coming down. He comes over and he's going to come down, but then continues on through.
All right. 30 minutes of analysis. Giggity.
Yeah. And we have a new king.
And we have a new king.